Hello and welcome everyone to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host Sam and you're watching Daily Immigration News. And now, let's get into today's headlines. President Donald Trump threatens action over Panama Canal, citing Chinese influence. Elon Musk says Trump supported shutting down USAID. US immigration raids could lead to labor shortages and higher food prices. UK's Prime Minister Starmer aims for strong trade ties with the US amid Trump's tariff plans. Venezuelans risk losing deportation relief in the US. Trump administration's tough immigration measures lead to more deportation of Chinese nationals. Trump's foreign policy faces challenges as more Americans are jailed in Venezuela. Trump's plan to use Guantanamo Bay for migrant detention sparks controversy. Colombia offers to pay for dignified deportation of its citizens from the US. Trump and Netanyahu to meet amid a temporary ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Shocking audio reveals the final moments before a medevac plane crashed in Philadelphia. So these were some of the latest headlines, and now let's get into the details. Firstly, President Donald Trump threatens action over Panama Canal, citing Chinese influence. On Sunday, US President Donald Trump announced plans to take strong action regarding the Panama Canal. Claiming that China has violated an agreement, Trump stated that the critical waterway, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, was not meant to be controlled by China. The Panama Canal, which was built by the US and opened in 1914, was handed over to Panama in 1999. President Trump also emphasized that while he does not believe military action will be required, the US would take back control of the canal if necessary. He added that something very powerful is going to happen soon regarding the situation. The president made it clear that the canal was not given to China and that this violation will be addressed. Next is Elon Musk says Trump supported shutting down US aid. Elon Musk recently revealed that during conversation with President Donald Trump, Trump agreed with his idea of shutting down the US Agency of International Development, that is USAID. Musk shared that Trump mentioned several times that he believed US aid should be closed because of its operations. Musk has been critical of US aid for funding causes that he believes promote left-leaning political agendas. Trump has also spoken negatively about the agency in the past, calling it a disaster and accusing it of being run by radical lunatics. He even hinted that a major decision regarding the agency would be made soon. Well, Musk's comments are part of the ongoing debate about the role of US aid in US foreign aid. Some people believe it should be reformed or shut down, while others think it plays an important part in global aid efforts. US immigration raids could lead to labor shortages and higher food prices. The Trump administration's recent immigration raids have raised concerns across the US. The raids focus on undocumented workers, many of whom work in essential industries like farming, meat packing, and dairy. Around 40% of farm workers in the US are undocumented, and deporting them could cause serious labor shortages. Well, experts warn that this could lead to higher food prices, with costs potentially rising by 5 to 6% each year, worsening inflation. If the labor shortage continues, it might even cause a recession, affecting both businesses and consumers. Additionally, some migrants arrested during the raids have been released back into the US due to limited space in detention centers and court rules that prevent holding people indefinitely. While ICE continues its enforcement actions, there are still challenges, especially with migrants from countries that refuse to take them back. UK's Prime Minister Starmer aims for strong trade ties with the US amid Trump's tariff plans. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has expressed his desire to strengthen trade relations with the United States. This comes after US President Donald Trump suggested imposing tariffs on Europe that are similar to the ones already placed on China, Canada, and Mexico. In a recent statement, Starmer shared, "In the discussions I have had with President Trump, we have focused on building a strong trading relationship. It's still early days." Trump also mentioned that he would not impose tariffs on the UK right away, saying Prime Minister Starmer has been very nice, we are getting along very well, and we will see if we can balance our trade. Well, this marks the beginning of early trade talks between the UK and the US, as both leaders aim to solidify a positive economic relationship. Venezuelans risk losing deportation relief in the US. More than 300,000 Venezuelans living in the US might lose their protection from being sent back to Venezuela. This protection, called TPS, Temporary Protected Status, that helps them to stay in the US without fear of deportation. The US government is planning to end TPS for Venezuelans, which means they could be sent back to their home country. Some people may still have protection until September, but after that, things are uncertain. And this decision is part of a bigger plan by the government to reduce the number of people allowed to stay in the US under TPS. Trump administration's tough immigration measures lead to more deportation of Chinese nationals. The US government is now deporting more people from China who are living in the US without permission. The government is making it easier to send them back home by working more closely with the Chinese government. Some Chinese nationals are also being sent back faster through a process called expedited removal. Well, this process skips the usual long court process. The Trump administration has been focusing on making it quicker and easier to deport people who are living in the US illegally. Trump's foreign policy faces challenges as more Americans are jailed in Venezuela. The US government is having trouble with its relationship with Venezuela because more Americans are being arrested there. President Trump is trying to get these Americans released, but it is becoming harder as the situation with Venezuela gets more tense. This is putting pressure on Trump's foreign policy, especially because it's becoming more difficult to handle problems like this. Trump's plan to use Guantanamo Bay for migrant detention sparks controversy. President Trump has directed the Guantanamo Bay naval base in Cuba to prepare for the detention of up to 30,000 migrants. This move is part of his crackdown on immigration and aims to make space for more detainees. The facility, known for its controversial history with terror suspects, could now hold migrants, including those detained inside the US. Well, critics say using Guantanamo for migrants is a step too far, citing human rights concerns and its association with abuse. The plan has drawn backlash, with some arguing it could violate migrants' rights to asylum. Trump supporters, however, argue that it sends a strong message about protecting the US border. The base's use for migrant detention also raises questions about the facility's current capacity and the need for additional funding. Colombia offers to pay for dignified deportation of its citizens from the US. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro has offered to pay for the safe return of Colombians deported from the US. This comes after a disagreement with the US President Donald Trump. Trump threatened to impose trade tariffs on Colombia after Petro refused to let US planes bring back deported Colombians. Petro also criticized the US for treating deported migrants harshly, like putting them in handcuffs. And now Colombia wants to ensure its citizens are treated better and will cover the cost of their return home. Trump and Netanyahu to meet amid a temporary ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are scheduled to meet at the White House on Tuesday, February 4th. The meeting is taking place during a fragile ceasefire between Israel and the militant group Hamas. The ceasefire has brought a temporary break in the fighting that has lasted for 15 months. The two leaders are expected to discuss how to maintain peace during this pause and also work on future plans for the region. Shocking audio reveals the final moments before a medevac plane crashed in Philadelphia. A terrifying audio recording has been released showing the final moments before a small medevac jet crashed into a neighborhood in Philadelphia on January 31, 2025. The plane, a Learjet 55, was carrying 6 people when it went down. In the audio, air traffic controllers are heard trying to get in touch with the jet as it lost communication. The controllers were confused and worried, with one saying, "We have a lost aircraft," and the other saying, "We are not exactly sure what happened." The crash caused a lot of damage and emergency responders rushed to the scene. Unfortunately, the crash resulted in a tragic loss of life. So these were some of the latest news updates. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. See you next time.